This is cause number 329264. Case is style of state of Texas versus Kelsey Menard. Ms. Menard, I have before me the judge's explanation of rights to defendants without an attorney, and you requested to apply for a court-appointed attorney. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I have before me an affidavit of indigency. You recognize this document?
Yes.
And on page 2 of the same document, Ms. Menard, is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And is everything correct in this document?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Menard, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. And the attorney that is going to be appointed in your case is Mr. John Macy. Mr. Menard, please stand on the X in front of the clerk. Here you go. Yes. Joseph Fontenot. Joseph Fontenot. Mrs. Fontenot, I have before me a document that is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights of Defendants Without an Attorney. And in this document, you said you want to apply for court-appointed counsel, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And I also have another document that's titled Affidavit of Indigency. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, Ms. Fontenot, is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Fontenot, is everything true and correct in this document?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Fontenot, let's see, your automatic qualifier, which means you automatically meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of court-appointed attorney. You got 2 cases, and actually you got 3 cases. Mr. Fontenot, your attorney that will be appointed to represent you is Mr. Charles McIntosh. And before you leave, we're going to give you all the information you need on how to contact him. terroristic threat, family violence. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Strength, family politics, threats, family violence. Need a copy of this here. Oh, did I sign that? The back, second page. Here you go. Here you go. Go ahead on and Mr. Founder, stand over there very quick. Yeah, it's Charles McIntosh is being appointed.
Judge, this lady has an emergency with her
Okay.
son at school.
Okay.
You have 3 cases, right? Okay. I'll call you back up when I do all.
You're gonna reset her a week. Yes. Just put it right there. And where is Joseph Fontenot? You just send him away?
Oh,
Okay, why don't you come on up? Okay, Mr. Fontenot, there's a document on that table that's titled Standard Bond Conditions in County Court Law Number 2. Do you see that? That's gonna be your copy, and I will go over this document with you. And it reads, following the arrest and or accusation in County Court Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein are ordered subject to the following additional conditions. Number one, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition? Condition number two, the defendant shall submit to testing for drug and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs or alcohol, and the test indicates the presence of drugs or alcohol in the defendant's body, and that's pursuant to the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.44, Section A2 and Section C2. Do you understand that condition? And condition number three, the defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense, and the defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that?
I got a question on that. As far as the, like, I'm back in my home now. So-
Okay, well, these are the terms and conditions
so
of this,
I gotta leave them home.
of this bond, okay? I mean, it's self-explanatory. You can talk to an attorney who can further advise you. Okay? Okay.
you can have a seat at request, so I'll call them over.
Okay, just have a seat.
Give me one. Keisha Harvey. Keisha Harvey.
Here you go. Eldred Price. How you doing, Mr. Price? That's good. Now, Mr. Price, I have before me two documents. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendant Without an Attorney. In this document, it states that you want to hire, excuse me, you want to apply for court-appointed counsel. Is that correct? All right. And this next document is affidavit of indigency. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this document, Mr. Price, is that your signature? And is everything true and correct in these documents? Mr. Price, I reviewed your affidavit of indigency. Appears that you qualify for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney because you meet the eligibility requirements. And therefore, let's see. Okay, Mr. Price, your attorney that's going to be appointed to represent you in this case is Ms. Lori Carrazzo.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Price, stand on the forehead over there, and you. Kevin Lumback. Okay, Mr. Lumback, I have before me two documents. First document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney. Well, first of all, how are you doing? You doing all right? That's good. Now, in this document, it states that you would like to apply for court-appointed counsel. Is that correct? And the next document is titled Affidavit of Indigency. And do you recognize this document? On page 2 of the same document, Mr. Lombard, is that your signature? Is everything true and correct in this document? And Mr. Lombard, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of court-appointed attorney. And your attorney that's going to be appointed in this case is Ms. Marva Provo. Huh? Okay, he had Laura Carrazzo. Oh, this is, that goes with it. No, that's all right. Here you go. You stand on the 4X. Once you finish over there, you're free to go. You have a blessed day. Just have a seat. Just go have a seat back where you were sitting. He didn't even put his initials on there. It's lady named Placette. It's a thing check, but she didn't put her initials on there. This one they didn't either. This is another one. Like a check mark. Gregory Carrington. Okay, how you doing there, Mr. Carrington? I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Carrington, I have two documents here. The first document that I have is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney. Recognize this document? Is that your signature on it?
Yes, sir.
And are you requesting to apply for court-appointed attorney?
Yes, sir.
All right. And on the next document, which is the affidavit of indigency, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this document, Mr. Carrington, is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
Now, is everything on this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Carrington, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of court-appointed attorney. In this case, and let's see. The attorney that's going to be appointed to represent you in this case is named Mr. Nathan Reynolds. We'll give you all the information you need regarding how to contact Mr. Reynolds. Mr. Carrington, please stand on the 4X. Turn it off, 4 corner. Here you go. Michael Prejean. How you doing, Mr. Pre? That's good. Now, Mr. Prejean, I have 2 documents before me. First document is judge's explanation of rights of defense by attorney. You recognize this document? In this document, you're requesting to apply for a court-appointed attorney. Is that correct? And the next document is the affidavit of indigency. Do you recognize this document? And on page 2 of this document, is that your signature?
Yeah.
Is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Hey, Mr. Prejean, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney, and in this case, your attorney that's going to be appointed to represent you is Mr. Alvin Samuel. Mr. Prejean, you'll be given information on how to contact Mr. Samuel, and Mr. Samuel also will be giving them information on how to contact you. Just have a seat and wait for the coordinator to call your name. Okay. Maybe we should make some of these other folks. Alan Eaglin. Did you have his,
Yes, sir. He's right there.
how you doing, Mr. Eaglin? I'm doing fine. Now, Mr. Eaglin, you want your case reset to hire your own attorney, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Mr. Eaglin, you should have a document before you that's just been handed out to you. That's titled Standard Bond Conditions and County Court Law Number 2. Do you understand? Do you have that document?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will go over this document with you. And it reads, following the arrest and accusation in County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein are ordered subject to the following additional conditions. Number one, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Condition number two, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who, A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol and the test indicates the presence of drugs and alcohol in the defendant's body. And that's pursuant to the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.44, A2 and C2. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
And condition number three, the defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim. Hold on a minute, it's just Evelyn. Okay, and condition, I'll repeat condition number three. The defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense, and the defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Now, condition number four applies to you because you have a DWI second.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, and it reads, the defendant who has been arrested or accused of any subsequent offense listed under section 49.04 through 49.06 of the Texas Penal Code, that's the DWI section, shall not operate any motor vehicle unless the vehicle is equipped with an interlock device mechanism that makes impractical the operation of the vehicle if ethyl alcohol is detected in the breath of the operator, and said device shall be installed at the defendant's expense with written verification of such installation being submitted to the court on or before the 10th day after today. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So you need to get an interlock within 10 days, and that's for any vehicle that you own or operate. And you need to get proof of that to this court,
Okay.
all right?
Okay.
In fact, if you bring it up here, you could leave it with the lady at the, if you go, you know those blue doors next to this courtroom?
Yes.
Go to the window and you can leave it with her and just tell her to give it to us,
Okay.
all right?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Egan, do you understand those terms and conditions of your bond?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you violate any one of those conditions, your bond can be revoked. And if your bond is revoked, you can be placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, just have a seat and they'll call you back up. Eddie Davila Alanis. Give Mr. Alanis his, Davila Alanis. Okay, how are you doing, Mr.? Is there Davila Alanis?
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Now, Mr. Davila, Eddie Davila Atlantis, you were requested to have your case reset to hire your own attorney. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, you also been handed a form that is titled Standard Bond Conditions. In County Court at Law Number 2. Do you see that document?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will go over this document, which it said, it reads, following arrest and or accusation in County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein are ordered subject to the following additional conditions. Number one, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Condition number two, defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who, A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol, and the test indicates the presence of drugs and alcohol in the defendant's body, and that's pursuant to the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.44, Section A2 and Section C2. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Condition number 3, the defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense. The defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
And condition number 4 applies to you as well because you have a DWI second case. And it reads, a defendant who has been arrested or accused of any subsequent offense listed under section 49.04 through 49.06 of the Texas Penal Code, and that's the DWI section, shall not operate any motor vehicle unless the vehicle is equipped with an interlock device mechanism that makes impractical the operation of the vehicle if ethyl alcohol is detected in the breath of the operator. And said device shall be installed at the defendant's expense with written verification of such installation being submitted to the court on or before the 10th day after today. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
So you have 10 days to give verification to the court that you have an interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. And if we're not in session when you come to the court, you can go to the lady at the blue doors
Mhm.
and tell her, and she'll get that information to us.
Okay.
All right.
yes, sir.
So you have 10 days in which to do that. Now, if you violate any one of the terms and conditions of your bond, then your bond can be revoked. If your bond is revoked, you could be arrested and placed in the Jefferson County Jail. All right, just have a seat and wait for the court coordinator to call your name. Abdullah Alibi. These are the, you can get that to, Mr. And, Brilla. Now, your full name is Abdullah Alibi? How you doing?
I'm doing good with yourself.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Alibi, I have before me 2 documents. First document is judge's explanation of rights to defend without attorney. And in this document, you state that you would like to have your case reset to hire your own attorney. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Also, the next document is standard bond conditions in County Court Law Number 2. Do you have that document? Yes, I will go over these conditions with you. And it reads, following arrest and or accusation in County Court Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein are ordered subject to the following additional conditions. Number 1, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition?
Yes.
Condition number 2, defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol, and the test indicates the presence of drugs or alcohol in the defendant's body, and that's pursuant to the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.44, A2 and C2. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, I have a question about the first condition.
Maybe the billion?
Is, with the no offense, that means traffic stops or?
Well, you can talk to your, you can get counsel from an attorney on that, on these conditions, okay? Now, condition number 3, the defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense, and the defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition?
Yes.
Now, condition number 4 does not apply to you because your case is an assault family violence, it's not a DWI case, all right? So, Mr. Alibi, if you fail to obey the terms and conditions of your bond may be revoked, and if your bond is revoked, you could be arrested and placed in a Jefferson County jail. All right. Do you understand that? Just have a seat and wait for the coordinator to call your name. Yeah, Mr. Vasquez.
Yes, John.
Okay, were you able to contact the client? What happened?
He must have lost connection.
He has another one right here.
Judge, I'm sorry, that number that I have, she answers it intermittently, and it wasn't accepting calls this morning or yesterday. I've spoken to her in the past, but I couldn't reach her this morning.
Okay, well, this, we still in session. You could, just get back with the court, continue to see if you can make contact with her or her bondsman, I guess. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. John Beard. He added this up wrong.
Oh, and then I did. I just
That's the total on the expenses. Hey, your name is John Beard.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Beard?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Now, Mr. Beard, I have a document before me that is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights of Defendant Without an Attorney. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And this document, you're requesting to apply for court-appointed counsel?
Yes, sir.
All right. And Mr. Beard, I also have another document before me. This document is titled Affidavit of Indigency. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, Mr. Beard, is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Beard, is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Beard, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of an attorney. And the attorney that's going to be appointed to represent you in this case is Mr. Bruce Smith.
Okay.
Mr. Beard, you'll be given information on how to contact Mr. Bruce Smith, and Mr. Smith will be given contact information on you. Just have a seat so we can give you that information. Wait for your name to be called. Sharon Plessy, Plessette.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Ms. Plessette?
Doing good, how about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Ms. Plessette. I have two documents before me. This first document, judge's explanation of rights of defense without attorney. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And on this document, you're asking to be appointed as court-appointed attorney.
Yes, sir.
I also have a document titled affidavit of indigency. And in this document, you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, Ms. Plessette, is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Plessette, is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Plessette, you're an automatic qualifier, which means you automatically meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. Actually, your attorney is Mr. Joe Vasquez. He was just on Zoom. Let's see, Plessette. You probably can Google it, interlock.
Okay.
I mean, that's, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Plessette, your attorney that's being appointed to represent you is Mr. Joe Vasquez. You'll be given information on how to contact Mr. Vasquez, and he'll be giving them information on how to contact you as well. Just have a seat and wait for your name to be called. There you go. Rudy Rivera. How you doing, Mr. Rivera? You doing good? Okay, Mr. Rivera. I have before me two documents. First document is titled Judge Explanation of Rights of Defendants Without an Attorney. You recognize this document?
Yes.
Is that your signature on the document?
Yes.
And you're requesting to have a court-appointed attorney, is that correct?
Yes.
Also have a document that's titled Affidavit of Indigency. You recognize this document?
Yes.
This mask is broke. Could you give him another one? Okay, now, Mr. Rivera. And is this your signature on this document?
Yes.
Now, is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Mr. Rivera, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. And your attorney that's going to be appointed in this case is Mr. John West.
It should be on there.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Rivera, you will give a contact information on how to contact Mr. West. Just have a seat and wait for your name to be called. There you go. That's good for her. Rosendo Fuentes. How you doing, Mr. Fuentes? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Fuentes, I have two documents before me. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights of Defense without an Attorney. Recognize this document? That's your signature? You're requesting to apply for court-appointed attorney, is that correct? I have another document here. This document is titled, it was an affidavit of indigency. You recognize this document? On page 2 of the same document, Mr. Fuentes. Is this your signature? And is everything true and correct in this document? Fuentes, you're an automatic qualifier. Therefore, you meet the eligibility requirements for court-appointed attorney. And your attorney in this case is going to be Mr. William Wilkerson. Okay, Mr. Fuentes, Mr. Wilkerson will be given information on how to contact you, and you will be given information on how to contact him. Just have a seat and wait for your name to be called. What else we got? The rest of them is just Steve, he's gonna talk to the rest of them. Okay.